For a lot of people with an extraordinary work history, the big question is just how much information do you put on that resume? If I have worked for 30 years, do all 30 years belong on that resume? You know, how much is too much and what's not enough to convey my experience?
Of course, every resume is different, every person is different, every industry is different, but let's take a look at it. More people have more jobs, so it's not unusual to have 10 or 11 jobs that you've actually done. You have to be careful about those that are not relevant any longer. You want to make this resume very relevant, not only in terms of your accomplishments, but in terms of the experience and the kinds of companies that you've been with. So I believe that as you get further back, you can erase some of those dates and you can forget about maybe some of the company listings. Maybe there's a way that you cover that by saying, in these years I work for a number of companies, or I was a consultant. Remember, more people have gaps, more people have more experience, so it's not unusual anymore. Back in the days when people had 3 jobs in their entire lifetime, you put all your jobs there. This is a very different thing. Also from the hiring manager standpoint, do they really care what your first job was out of college that lasted 3 months? They don't really care.
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of people will ask me, gee, I started working, in the 60s. Do I put on my resume the jobs that I held in the 60s and 70s? Or does it make me seem more relevant and up to date if I only list the positions that I've had maybe since the 80s? How do you advise people on that?
Well, I think you don't want to have too much of a gap. I think that if you're someone now, 2010, a job that was in the 60s or the 70s, it might be good background, but the details on it aren't that important. And the hiring manager probably doesn't even know the name of the company because it's no longer the name, okay? And also, they want to deal with what's current and where you are right now.
Sure.
So I think there should be less of a worry about it. The other thing, of course, you want to be honest and you want to be very straightforward about what you're doing. But I think if you do it that way, you're going to be fine.